You'll be happy to know today's stories will include 2 from my sister-in-law because I was just too freaking lazy to go find any. If you like that kind of integrity right there, the honesty of saying we're lazy SOBs, like, subscribe, and follow. This is True Really News. Really like this. Have your friends just stop by and hit the like button.
That helps us enormously. And
they don't even have to listen.
Yep.
You do, but we don't. It's a rule. If you're subscribed, you actually have to listen. I think it's a law.
By the way, subscribing would help us too.
That's a good thing too.
And a lot of you who watch the show or listen to the show
and following. So like, subscribe, do all of those every time you show up.
There we go.
If you have a question, comment, conundrum, or snark, you can leave them wherever you found us, much like the dead body in the ditch. Or you can email it to us, like even stories that we might want.
Oh, sure. That'd be cool.
Or use, because let's be honest, we're, as mentioned earlier, lazy SOBs. TITR@netradio.network. And we thank you for your support.
This is True Really News with Scott Combs and Tony Vercanis. All the news you're about to hear is true.
Really?
As far as you know.
From thebuzzly.com.
Huh?
Thebuzzly.com.
Oh, I thought it was Buzzling. That would have been cooler.
No, Buzzly.
That would have sounded like some sort of creature. It is I, Brett Buzzling. Of the Northampton Buzzlings.
What do? We nuzzle.
We buzzle.
Buzzlings that nuzzle.
We buzzle. We're buzzling. How do you think we got our name? In the old days, we were buzzlers.
Is this illicit?
And slowly
Buzzle?
it became, and now you'll find, Buzzlingsons.
Buzzlingsons and Sons. And sons
in the old country,
sons.
there are Von Buzzlings.
In a
shortened to buzz.
In a shocking light year?
Bees are not buzzlings, by the way.
In a shocking revelation.
Hang on. To infinity and beyond.
Dum, dum, dum. In a shocking revelation. Shocking, I say, that left...
Was it shocking, you say?
Oh, boy. It left medical professionals astounded. Astounded, I say. Doctors recently removed a staggering 30 pounds of feces that had been accumulating in a patient's colon for an astonishing 22 years.
Holy shit.
And I may just leave that as it is because I don't think there's any other response.
That's a crap load right there.
Well, I would say buttload, but nobody will get it.
Well, it's gone now, so...
Yeah. Doctors expressed their bewilderment at the sheer...
That'd have been like 3 buttloads, dude.
...magnitude of the fecal buildup and marveled at the patient's miraculous survival.
I don't know where he finds these.
The surgery...
The buzzling.
With all the crap news. The surgery was a
pretty much anywhere.
Saving intervention.
You read the LA Times?
Not if I can help it. Preventing a potential catastrophe as the colon was at risk of rupturing at any moment.
Wait a minute, hang on. You read the New York Times?
Oh, no.
Not if you can help it. Okay.
No.
Remember when the Gray Lady used to be?
Everything. We used to read it every morning.
Yeah. And now,
no.
I believe the stress signal Gray Lady down.
Yes, it's good. The patient, it turns out, had been living with a congenital defect known as Hirschsprung's disease. It's a condition where some nerve cells are missing in the large intestine, causing a significant delay in stool progression. I mean, even if you get a marching band out there, dum, 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 nothing happens. Remarkably, the patient had been experiencing regular bowel movements throughout his life, leading to the gradual buildup of feces over the years. So, the condition was not due to any inability to defecate, but rather a result of the congenital defect remaining undiagnosed since birth, leading to the aforementioned 30 pounds of holy poop. There you go.
Nope. There he went. When a truck carrying over 100,000 salmon crashed and overturned in Oregon, I looked and said, well, salmon.
Holy salmon.
I'm the only person in my house that's not a big salmon fan.
I love salmon.
And by my house, I mean even the extended households of my children.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not bad. I mean, I'll eat it. That's not one of my favorites.
Sure.
So 100,000 salmon overturned in Oregon. Yes, it might have spelled disaster for the fish aboard, which were intended, of course, to replenish local populations in the Imnaha River. But
this is a big loss.
In a miraculous twist, over
a Christmas miracle?
Well, it wasn't actually Christmas. It was more like a, I don't know,
Thursday,
early spring Christmas.
Ooh, I love them the best.
Early spring miracle. Anyway, over 70,000 of the said 100,000 salmon of the fish, landed. Over 70,000 of the salmon
of the fish
landed in a nearby creek. That's creek to some of you, and are expected to survive. That's live to some of you. The accident took place the end of March in Northwest Oregon, according to a news release from the Oregon Department of Fish and Wildlife. I bet they probably had champagne all around.
Yeah, we're so good we don't even have to be good.
The truck was carrying, if you're wondering, because it was over 100,000 pounds, over 100,000 salmon.
Yeah,
it was actually 102,002, and it's over 100,000 spring Chinook smolts. Who is not an ex-pitcher and pretty good golfer. It's a young salmon in the life phase in which they transition from the freshwater to the open ocean.
Oh, I see. And when do they become butterflies?
Tuesday. According to the news release, the accident occurred on a sharp corner with a 53-foot truck rolling into the passenger side, skidding on its side on the pavement, and then going over a rocky embankment, causing it to roll onto its roof. If Quentin Tarantino did this, it would be in slow motion. The Salmon Festival in Klamath
Falls.
Zack Snyder did it. The whole movie would mostly be in slow motion. The Salmon Festival in Klamath, California is not serving salmon this year with the hope of restoring a food central to area tribes. The driver received minor injuries, according to the department, because we are way more worried about those salmon than, the human being involved.
Thankfully, he wasn't hurt too bad.
Thank heavens. The truck overturned close to Looking Glass Creek, tributary of the Grande Ronde River. About 77,000 young salmon made it to the creek and are expected to return in future years to spawn. That would be salmon nookie. Not all of the fish were so lucky. 25,529 smolts died. Their bodies were recovered later. There will be a burial. I don't know. They recovered. They were either still in the tank or made it to the stream bank. And
that was it. Apparently,
salmon need water.
Who knew? Yeah.
Salmon were meant to be released in the Imnaha River, a 77-mile-long water course in the Wallowa-Whitman National Forest. I didn't even know there was one. Did you?
I've never heard of it before.
Me either. The smolts lost. They're not lost. They're dead.
Yes.
Constitute about 20% of the total salmon that will be released in the river this year. Because of the loss, fishery managers expect to see about 500 to 900 fewer adult fish returning in 26 and 27 for the aforesaid orgies. But they're salmon orgies. They're not bad.
Yeah.
Salmon are raised, by the way, and look at the Looking Glass hatchery, then transported back and released in the Imnaha. I would have thought if you just make the hatchery close to the river, would have been
silly us.
Easier,
simpler.
Some professor at some university explained that salmon are resilient, which will help many of them survive their unplanned tumble into the creek.
Eek.
Exactly. In many ways, says smart guy, salmon are very resilient. Wait, you just said that. Many of the salmon. Wow. Whoever wrote this gave me the entire quote of the first half of the quote.
They've been doing that recently, and it's just HS writing. It's crap.
Could I see the CNN style book? Well, there probably isn't one.
Not anymore. There isn't.
Yeah, it's like they took this 4-line quote and redid it in 2 lines and then gave you the quote anyway. They think most of the fish will survive, and a bunch of them will be able to procreate.
Duh.
Bottom line.
Okay. Well, congratulations.
I'm supposing that's in order.
As long as we're doing wildlife stories.
Slip sliding away.
BBC Manchester. This was sent in by
away.
Sharp-Eyed
Paul
reader.
Simon was singing about salmon in Oregon. Who knew?
Right. This sharp-eyed viewer, Patrick Reed, sent this in. A wildlife rescue that took in what was thought to be a baby hedgehog found it was actually carrying for a bobble from a hat.
I'm sorry?
It turned out to be a bobble from a hat and not a baby hedgehog.
Bobble from a hat. Okay, I know what a baby hedgehog should be. It should be a small version of a hedgehog.
Right, and this bobble from the hat looked an awful lot like a baby hedgehog.
What's a bobble?
Well, one of those puffballs on top of the hats.
He thought that was a baby hedgehog.
Somebody did. Somebody who brought it to the Lower Moss Nature Reserve and Wildlife Hospital. On arrival, they discovered the hoglet was in fact a faux furry friend.
You've been waiting all day for that.
It was just kind of cute. I like that. A volunteer for, that was according to a volunteer for the animal charity. Our hearts
Faux furry
melted.
friend found not to be hedgehog.
Our hearts melted. The volunteer at the rescue based in Knutsdorf, Cheshire, added.
Oh, Knutsdorf. Why does that sound like a character from a novel? Probably a Mary Shelley novel.
Ooh, I read it wrong. It's Knutsford.
Heinrich Knutsdorf.
It's Knutsford or Knutsford, whichever.
Oh,
I don't know.
that's not near as much fun. Carry on.
Right. The rescue posted on social media a photo of the decorative ball showing it nestled in a box beside a bowl of food. This adorable hoglet still got all the love, complete with some cozy TLC, the charity tweeted.
So he's trying to feed the tossel on a tossel cap.
The charity, which offers educational trips for schools and other groups, it looks after about 2,000 injured animals each year, and at least apparently one
hedgehog thought to hedgehog impersonating bobble.
I just love that idea.
I understand now why people go more with beanies and tossel caps. I get it now.
Well, it's like the guy who thought
the hedgehog population wouldn't stand for it.
Thought they turned, it was in England, thought they found a severed foot and it was actually just a potato.
Yeah. What do they teach in British schools?
Apparently not enough.
Yeah, but don't worry, we'll catch up to them.
I think we have.
We may have already passed them.
Yeah.
A Mexican media outlet made a rather awkward broadcasting boo-boo.
Oh, that can't happen.
I know. You remember there was something of a solar eclipse on April the 8th of 2024?
I heard all about it. In fact, they're still talking.
Yeah, I didn't see it. Didn't care.
Nor did I.
We had clouds for one.
Right. I just don't care.
Yeah. Hey, look, something, although we are pretty sure, like 125,000% sure on a scale of 1 to 100.
Yep.
That it had nothing to do with climate change, you morons.
You're dead right. Dead right. It was some lady from The View who was claiming that. I'm kind of going, you know.
And the other ladies actually tried gently to correct her. I thought, this is not going to work. You cannot cure stupid with gentle correction. It needs a baseball bat and loud voices.
How did she pass the bar? That woman's supposedly a lawyer.
How does she feed herself? RCG Media's 24/7 news program had been using clips submitted by viewers during their coverage of this rare celestial event. Well, it's not all that rare, but I guess pretty rare.
No, it happens every year someplace.
Somewhere. However, the show's hosts realized that they had been pranked by the viewer. You would think they would have looked at this beforehand, because while the presenter was discussing the cities which had sightings of the eclipse, images of the event were broadcast to viewers. The show presented images of the phenom in which the moon can be witnessed totally covering the sun. The segment was quickly cut when the host realized that they had instead been showing a video of man merely blocking the sun with his testicles. I'm not scientifically inclined, but I guess I'm wondering how in the hell you could miss that.
How do you?
I mean, really?
Well, and why do we have two moons? I mean, What's going on here?
One of the hosts gasped as the realization set in, I would think. Camera cut away to the studio where another host explained how the video had been sent in by a fan. That's not helping your case. The broadcasters then went on to explain how mistakes like this can occur, particularly when dealing with footage sent in by viewers.
Well, it's no longer footage at this point. It's testiculage.
It's appendages.
There you go.
Thank you. According to Indy 100, a Spanish news site, Vandal reported the video is not new, by the way. It was reportedly been around for like 5 years, 6 years. In another Eclipse-related news, Jimmy Fallon and Hart performed a rendition of Bonnie Tyler's Total Eclipse of the Heart on The Tonight Show. That would have been something. Actually, Fallon can sing.
Yeah, he's actually musical.
And by the way, Vampire Weekend also performed a special gig to commemorate the eclipse at the Moody Amphitheater in Austin, Texas. Moody.
Seems only appropriate.
That's named after the Moody Bible Institute guy, do you? That would be funny.
Are the men and women segregated?
It's Vampire Weekend at Moody.
I know a guy who went to Moody.
Really?
He was a little tightly wrapped.
Yeah. Wound, as we say now. Wound. Tightly.
This is true, really news. Send email to TITR@netradio.network.